Hey, good afternoon, everybody. So I have a lot of pressure because Shelley introduced me as a charming guy. In fact, as you can see, I'm not a very charming guy, but the big data, this topic actually is very charming. So that's why you're here. So in the next 20 minutes or so, I'm going to share with you some of the story, exciting story in the big data world, not just in Hong Kong or in Singapore, but also around the whole world, particularly in China. In the morning, if you read some news, you know, the Alibaba Jack Ma is looking at the partnership with Tim Cook from Apple. So the world is changing. It's going to change more and more. So I'm sure that everybody is very excited about technology and how the impact of it, particularly in big data. We'll talk about big data today. Okay. So I shared introduce a little bit about Big Data SIG, special interest group that I founded for Hong Kong Computer Society, which is only the first step to gather all the experts together in Hong Kong and in China so we can innovate more solutions for users and also help users to really make use of data. Thank you for Mr. Sterling talking about open data. Actually, Hong Kong, in fact, Singapore, is quite behind in terms of open data policy compared to UK and United States. So that's something that we really need to have a team of people, the expert in the big data area, to work together so we can help the industry and help Asia to compete in analytics. So you see that we have a lot of site visits, including the famous, probably you know, definitely know about the TV station in Hong Kong, TVB. We actually visit the TVB company to learn how they make use of BI in the entertainment business. So, and also we visit China, Tencent, and Alibaba to learn how they really make use of big data. So there's so many things that we can share and collaborate. Nobody is your enemy forever. So Alibaba actually looking at the partnership with Apple, right? So it's co-opetition these days. So let's go back to the major topic today is big data. So time is limited, so actually will take you through three major key points, three key takeaway, if you will. The first one is the disruptive power of big data. So we talk a lot about internet, we talk a lot about apps and animation and so many different types of technologies. But mainly, I think the key behind the power of all this kind of technology is big data. Because if you have apps, you have a website, if you don't know how to put together all the data and analyze your customer behavior or decide who is your customer, then it's very difficult to compete those people, they have it. In our term, sometimes it's a marketing term, now we call segment of one. So I'm sure that you know marketing, we do market segmentation. Now we are trying to do segment of one. So every single person will be one market segment. So think about this, how we can do that. This is another way to talk about personalization, right? So whether you are in education, you retail, you logistic, in financial services, in the near future, everybody is competing in segment of one. That means how personalized your services and products are. So the disruptive power of big data is going to be very, very important. So we'll talk about that. And then we'll talk about some case studies across industry, particularly on those disruption to traditional business, like banks, insurance, logistic company, or B2B traditional industrial products. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And I will have some recommendation, not complete recommendation, because the field of big data is still evolving. So nobody knows all the answers, including myself and my teammates. So that's why we need to collaborate together, Hong Kong, Singapore, China, in the States and UK. We need to work together so how we can move it forward. So let's take you through about the disruptive power of big data. So where is Borders now? Border is a big, big bookstore. I used to come, when I come to Singapore every time, a few years ago, I definitely would stop at Orchard Road, Borders. But now I can't find it anymore. And it's not only happening in Singapore, it's happening in the whole world. Borders actually be replaced by who? Amazon. Right? So this is the beginning of the story. So you look at that company, very successful, the brand, the equity is very successful company, Borders, 40 years old. They have around hundreds of retail stores, including Singapore. But now they're gone. Why? Look at this one. But it's not only the single case that we see the replacement or disruption. This is only the beginning. So cross the border. That border is different than that border. It means that company, you used to have your competitor. Borders' competitor is another called B&N, their physical bookstore. But they cannot see some competitor are not coming from their own industry. They are coming from the internet world. So what I'm saying is that the cross-border era, the people are not used to compete with you, or your competitor around you won't be the one that are killing you. The one that killing you is just like Alibaba, just like Google. They're not in your traditional business, but they're coming to attack you and eventually have a very high chance to replace you. So we have seen that. So you look at more and more, I'll show you more. So basically, if you know what is a long tail theory, Amazon actually is a very successful implementation of the long tail theory. So if you look at the bookstore traditionally, you can only put 20% of your most selling books in your bookstore, physical bookstore, because it's too expensive to put 100% of your books in a physical bookstore in Orchard Road, for example. But the internet can really make it happen, like Amazon, is to put 1,000 million books on their website without a single cent of cost increase. So it's very important. The physical retailer cannot make it. But this is not the only success factor. The very important success factor is the big data analytics behind Amazon, because they can recommend books to you in a very high accuracy. I am the one I used to go to Amazon, only find a book called Data Warehouse or Business Intelligence. But when I check out, I didn't buy the first book that I looked for. But guess what? I buy another 3 to 5 books, because their cross-selling machine, this is the data mining recommender, is so accurate. So I'm not looking for a book. I'm looking for knowledge. So if they do this kind of thing successfully, and if they can lower down the cost, like the physical store they have to pay, then it's very successful. At the end of the day, you see how successful they are in these days. So they are not the only example, as I said before. This is only one example. Bookstore, physical bookstore, is not here anymore. Even in Taiwan, if you go to Taiwan Chengpi, they are changed the business model entirely. Only 10% of the 8-story building are selling books. The other 90%, they are selling different types of stuff. So if you're a physical retailer, the traditional retailer, if you change your strategy business model now, I can guarantee you, you'll die very soon. So this is very important to see. I'm sure that some of you have read this book. This is just the best-selling book in big data. They are written by an Oxford professor and the chief editor of Economist. They really take big data into a different landscape. It's not only help you to make more money, but it's actually changing our life and changing our health and make ourselves live better and happier. So I will predict our next generation, they will live at least over 100 years old. Then they will give another happy problem for us, because we might not have enough food to feed them. So, but this is the reality of what we call the happy problem, right? But it's happening. Look at what I'm wearing right now. My watch is not Rolex, it's not Omega, although I like them. But now, I think my health is more important than my status. This is the wearable device, can track my health, my behavior. This kind of data will integrate with the database they have. They will segment the whole population, and I'm going to be, with my characteristic will be similar to certain segments. So once we have all this data analyzed, they will recommend something to me. What should I do? What should I not do? What should I eat? What should I not eat? So we'll do a lot of preventive stuff. So big data to me is not only make more money, but it's actually make our health much better. So we live longer, hopefully happier. McKinsey also predict the future 12 disruptive technologies. But if you have a good eyesight, you look at this chart, you cannot find big data there. So Toa, you asked me, are you lying? You said big data is so important. Why is not one of the disruptive technologies in McKinsey's prediction? But I'm not wrong. I'm absolutely right, because McKinsey in the same report saying that all 12 disruptive technology, they need big data. So big data is actually more important than the single one. All right, look at this CEO. I'm sure that most of you are coming from the IT world, but look at the CEO, what they think about big data. Amazon, Jeff Bezos, we never throw away data. And then you look at the very famous casino, Hara, from the States. Do we think or do we know? So another thing, if you are a Christian, I'm not sure that it will cause you anything wrong, but in God we trust, all other bring data. So besides God, if you want to convince me, please bring me data. Right? So this is the something. But from the IT world, what they think about it, CEO is so important. The successful CEO, they treat data very seriously. But CIO, look at all the Gartner's report. Last 5 years, 3 years, they rank analytics and BI as the top one. So no matter you see from the CEO perspective, from the CIO perspective, big data is going to be on their agenda in a very high priority. And big data actually is integrating different types of data, structured and unstructured data, and also integrate them together and using our data mining technology and algorithm to really predict something and optimize something. Because of time limit, I cannot explain it into detail, but this is very different from what we did in the BI world, business intelligence world, because it has the power of prediction. It has the power of the optimization. Right. Let's look at some examples so we can realize the power of big data. So, needless to introduce, Google, Amazon, and Apple is the new big three in the West. And how about the new big three in China or even in Asia? I look at the Alibaba and Baidu and Tencent. So BAT, we call it, is the new big three in China. Now, you know, Jack Ma, after they listed in the New York stock market, he is already the richest man in China. Okay? So they beat all the traditional business bosses. More importantly is you and me, including myself, actually I am helping different big data startups in China to really disrupt the market, put it this way. But we are not alone. In the States, look at this list, is how much money the VC are put on these big data startups in Menlo Park, if you will. So in the future, you will see more and more this kind of innovation coming from the West and the East to disrupt our industries. So if we are defensive, we probably die soon. So we have to be very proactive, whether they embrace this kind of innovation or we innovate ourselves. And McKinsey also quantified the return of big data in terms of dollar term. So this report is very important. The impact to the financial world, the retail world, and the health world. And walk you through some example. So IBM Watson actually beat the champion, long-time champion of Jeopardy, if you watched this TV before. These two guys are the whitest guy in America. because they have been the champion in the Jeopardy show for many, many long time. But the big data machine, IBM Watson, actually answered those questions more accurately than this kind of people. Eventually, they win. And GE is a traditional company. They used to be number one in the world. Now Walmart took over. Walmart has been number one in the world for many, many years. But before that, GE was number one for many years. Now GE want to fight back. But as a traditional company, they cannot do that. So they invest a lot of money in big data, trying to predict all the machines selling to their customers when they're going to break down. So before the machine break down, they will send people to fix it, so their customer will be happy, will not lose their productivity. So traditional company like GE are making use of big data big time. They're predicting they're going to contribute $1,500 billion US dollars by 2030. And look at the entertainment business, the online streaming, the video streaming business. We used to rent DVD and VCD from the retail store. This industry already gone. But those people are the online video business. They are competing very heavily, and they're facing a lot of trouble because when they buy content from Hollywood, they're so expensive. So what you're going to do if you are the owner of the online business, online video streaming business, so you have to, what you have is the behavior of your members. Because every time they watch the video, they have the behavior checked by you. So they analyze all this data. Besides, they can recommend to cross-selling much better because they can predict what you want to see. So cross-sell like Amazon. They also make use of, they know what you like. They produce their own contents. So rather than buying contents from Hollywood, they create their own content and create the content that people like. So it's very important. So they make a lot of not only revenue, but also profit. Look at this. This guy is a charming guy, not me, right? So all the female friends, they like him. But he has a movie. It's not an action movie. It's a baseball sports. Baseball sports. Why I bring it out? Because this is a true story, and they make it as a movie. So this is old ball cup. All the stakeholders are very old. They're losing to New York Yankees many, many times. They are in the borderline of filing bankruptcy. But what they did is this new guy as the GM of this old ball cup, he finds that they have so many unstructured data. They write down all the statistics of past 100 years baseball history. So what they did is to do unstructured data analytics. So they find out, well, we don't need to have all the expensive players. They do not guarantee you will win in every competition. They build up a model. They know under what kind of match, what kind of players, what kind of characteristic of the players they will win. So they go out to search this kind of player, may not be well known, but they have all this kind of characteristic. So by using data mining, big data, they win and they beat Yankees, and they also save a lot of costs. In the financial world, now how do you loan money now? They go through banks, right? How about I don't need to see your credit score. Give me your Facebook account, and I can calculate whether I will loan you money, interest rate, and how long your paying period. So you don't need to look at the FICO score that we used to be, but we can design it by different types of behavior data. So this guy actually was the CIO of Google. He came out to start another startup company and do exactly, changing the underwriting model. And this guy's the same thing, but they are not facing, the loan is not to consumer market. The loan is to SME, small to medium enterprise. How about you give me, you authorize me to look at your UPS account. I can, within a day, I can tell you whether I should loan you money, because I can look at, based on your behavior, the logistic transactions, and other data, I can tell whether I should loan you money. This guy, if you look sports car, he faced an accident before. In the insurance company, how they do it? They can do what they call the OTT, the real-time offering of accident insurance. So think about that. If they can, an insurance company can detect you are in danger, then they will send you a SMS. Okay, you should stop there. If you go ahead to do that, I will forfeit your insurance protection. If you want to have more protection, you have to give us 50% more. So how about we can do real-time offering? So this is something disrupting the industry. So Adidas is making money because of make use of big data in China. Xiaomi, okay, they are a contender of Apple. They are also making use of big data and social media data to really lock in, I would say, that increase the customer loyalty of their fans and also analyze what they like, and using cloud sourcing really bring the fans in to design their new products. So the engagement, customer loyalty is much higher. Without big data, you can't do it. But also, once they have the data, they can make money not from their phone, but they make money from those people they want to sell advertising, want to place advertising on their platform. They want to sell insurance, what we call the platform strategy. Big data is the key element of platform strategy. If you don't know what's a platform strategy, think about what is a freemium. If your competitor is selling your product free of charge, will you scare? Definitely, right? But how they make money? Those are the things we're seeing that. Traditional companies are actually being challenged by new invaders. So Tesco used to be a retailer. They're selling financial products. Okay? Baidu, a search engine. They are going into tourist industry. So Alibaba going to financial industry. So your competitors are coming from a different whole new world. So last but not least, only the last 1 minute, recommendation. It's going to be a journey. You won't reach all the benefit that I talk about in 1 day or 2 days. Actually, it will be a journey to evolve. As I said before, big data is a new thing. Everybody is learning. So in order to increase your return on investment, you have to move across a maturity model. So it means that it's a journey. This journey will not only take you through like a BI reports and KPI, that sort of thing. They will give you a chance to monetize your data monetization. They will give you a chance to change your business model, what we call the business metamorphosis. And definitely the culture, the technology, the decision-making, and the data quality, security, and privacy is the key challenges that we have to face. Last but not least, okay, is a story. This is a favorite story I like. Half the story is the success of big data. Target predict the girls, the female people, when they're going to pregnant without asking their doctors. So their prediction model is very accurate. So one day they receive a prediction, a girl 16 years old, 80% this girl is pregnant. So you better promote your product to her. So Target listened to this statistic, and then they send pregnancy product to this 16 years old girl, but the girl was not at home. Her father was at home. So her father was very mad. My daughter was only 16 years old. How come Target sent me some pregnancy products? So he went to Target and shout at them, and then the manager come out and look at the big data report, only said 80% is right. 20% maybe I'm wrong. So he apologized. Though the father is so happy and went back to home and said to her daughter, "Daughter, I did a good thing for you." And the daughter, very embarrassed, and told her father, "Sorry, I'm really pregnant." So this is the story. Target make use of it. That means they have the power of making use of big data. But look at the second half of the story. If you look at this one, the CIO actually in March this year stepped down because hacker hacked into their big data database. So not only losing the name and age of the people, they know who is pregnant. So it's a very, damage is very high in terms of data privacy. Look at this one. In May this year, CEO of Target also need to step down for the same incidents. So you see the power of big data. If you're using it well, you can be so successful. If you do not protect your security and privacy carefully, not only the CIO needs to step down, the CEO also needs to step down. So we need to be very careful when we're making use of big data. Because of time limit, I have to stop here. Thank you so much.